Guys, the president-elect scoring a major legal victory as we sit just 55 days out from him returning to the Oval Office. So a federal judge on Monday moved to grant special counsel Jack Smith's request to drop the charges against the president-elect related to his 2020 federal election case. Now, Smith says in his filing, quote, "This outcome is not based on the merits or strength of the case against the defendant." Trump posting on his Truth Social saying, quote, "These cases, like all of the other cases I've been forced to go through, are empty and lawless and should never have been brought." VP of the Trump Organization, Eric Trump, also reacting last night. Listen.
The irony of Jack Smith is, he brought this case to try and make sure my father never got elected, and I actually think it was Jack Smith who might go down as one of the very reasons my father got elected, right? It's kind of the law of unintended consequences. He will go down as a figure who literally tried to subvert democracy, who tried to put a president in jail for no reason to benefit his political class.
Smith's team also moved to end its appeal of another federal judge's decision to drop that classified documents case against Trump. That judge, Eileen Cannon of the Southern District of Florida, ruled that Smith was unlawfully appointed as special counsel. So here's a look at where all of Trump's legal battles stand now. Trump is no longer facing any sort of federal charges. And in New York, Judge Juan Merchan's granted Trump's request to file a motion to dismiss those charges. We are also still awaiting a possible ruling from Merchan on presidential immunity. And of course, in Georgia, Fani Willis's case is paused. So meanwhile, Trump is continuing to build his new team for the incoming administration. He announced last night that James Braid and Alex Latcham will both be returning and announced newcomer Matt Brousseau. The three will all lead various offices in the White House.
She needs food. This is fun.
Hey guys. What's wrong with her?
She's been like that for an hour now.
What's for dinner? Okay, I'll take it from here. Feel better?
What even was that? I'm sitting here watching it like, oh wow, I wonder where this is going. I was like, can I get this in a full feature length 70s sitcom? I would love to watch it. Do you have 27 minutes of that, Jerry? I'd love to watch that full episode. What is it? What kind of what even was that? Kids throwing grapes at Jack Smith. Oh man. Oh, we have a clip we play a lot on this program. You better load it, Klein. It's Trump saying you better get sick of winning. You better not get sick of winning, because we're still winning. And you're going to get sick of it. You're going to say, we can't take anymore, Mr. President. We can't take it. And I'm going to say, no, we have to win more. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what this show is about. It is a week of Thanksgiving. And so we are going to be thankful for all the wonderful things happening in this nation. Today is Tuesday, November 26th, 2024. Jack Smith drops all cases against Donald Trump, but he leaves a poison pill in there. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it today with one of the greatest law enforcement officials in the entire country, Attorney General of the state of Texas. Ken Paxton joins the program. He's going to tell us a little bit about what must happen next, and also talk about the massive victories that Donald Trump has already had with Mexico and with Canada. Overnight, Donald Trump literally reshaping geopolitical relationships through Truth Social posts, having our enemies bend the knee, shaking and cowering the president of Mexico and the prime minister of Canada, groveling on their knees to President Trump. We're going to talk all about it. This is exactly what you wanted to see. And ladies and gentlemen, America's golden age starts right now. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. So this weekend, you are going, this week, on Thursday, you're going to be presumably sitting around a Thanksgiving table. You're going to be in a hot kitchen. You're going to be cooking or grilling, a mix of both. And you're going to be spending a lot of time with family, maybe some spicy conversations included. You want to make sure that you are locked in and ready to go for that big day of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, let me recommend Masculine Man deodorant and the products that they provide for men to stay smelling crisp, throughout the day. We use them here in the studio, and it does get kind of hot in here. You might notice that we sweat a little bit in the studio sometimes. So we got all these lights all around. I need to do a full studio tour sometime. You got all these hot lights. Ladies and gentlemen, we use Masculine Man every single day. It's because it is 100% all natural, aluminum free. My wife is very crunchy. She likes these kind of things. You can count on bold masculine scents. No white marks, no yellow stains, no irritation. Look at this. Sound is a pound in here, okay? Masculine Man, ladies and gentlemen. You can get them on Amazon. You can head over to masculinemanessentials.com and use the code Benny for 15% off. Masculine Man Essentials, 15% off. Smell amazing, feel powerful, and support an American-made brand. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment. This is the day that we have been waiting for. It's not just that Democrat lawfare failed against President Trump. It's that we must take an extra step. We have to, for the sake of our country, for the sake of the country that we wish to build, for the security of you, your children and grandchildren. There must be an important next step. But let's cover first off the joyous news that Jack Smith has officially surrendered and ended all federal prosecutions against Donald Trump. Bro, this guy has the single worst career. If this guy was a professional athlete, he'd be, I don't know sports well enough to know. Killer Klein, who's like an athlete that just bombed in their professional career, who just sucks. We do news and politics around here so much. Can you tell we don't run a sports channel? Who's like an embarrassment, an athlete that like totally fizzled out. Okay, Klein has some UFC guy. Johnny Manziel says Eric. Megan Rapinoe. Okay, all right, fine. Dude, I gotta tell you, Jack Smith's legal career has been just bomb after bomb after bomb after failure after destruction after blow up after blow up. He's been overturned already by the Supreme Court 9-0 when he went after another promising Republican would-be superstar, the former governor of Virginia, who was planning on running against Barack Obama. Jack Smith was brought in to be a dirty bomb against that up-and-coming governor. His name was Bob McDonnell. That's ancient history, though. It was about 15 years ago. Jack Smith has since been spanked and been put down multiple times in multiple legal cases. The guy is an embarrassment. He is a legitimate legal terrorist who gets brought in to destroy careers with innuendo and indictments. Okay, so like from a legal perspective, you have to look at the table here and understand what they did with Trump. Yes, they wanted Trump in a body bag. That's what they wanted, okay? It took them a long time to send out a tweet that they were glad Trump was safe after the assassination attempt. But they wanted him in a different, I think they wanted him in a physical body bag. They wanted him a very different type of body bag. A legal body bag. Which is to say that they wanted to destroy his career through cases they know could never be brought to trial. You know, you could never bring the January 6th case to trial. Trump says, march peacefully and patriotically. None of it's ever going to work. But the goal is the indictment. It's called the wrap-up smear. And something very interesting. It's a playbook that Democrats use, and it's utterly evil. Now, I'm telling you, and ALX, can you grab me that wrap-up smear clip from Pelosi? Because it's too good how easily this stuff plays out. Here's how it works. Just getting the indictment. Anyone can get an indictment inside of Fulton County or inside of Washington, D.C. against Donald Trump, okay? Getting the indictments is enough to land President Trump in a courthouse for months on end, as we saw, take him off the campaign trail, and drag his name, smear his name in the press and the corporate media to give everybody in the corporate media enough chum to talk about, right? You ever see him feeding sharks? You ever see him throw the bucket of chum off the oil rig? See the sharks in the Gulf of Mexico? This is what the corporate press. The corporate press is a wholesale human centipede for the deep state, or the super state, the permanent state in Washington, D.C. I don't like saying deep state because it's not really that deep anymore. They're out. They've been dragged out of their holes. You'd see them now. They're on MSNBC. They're so paranoid. You create a fake indictment or a fake news story. You drag Trump through that process. Who cares if Trump's exonerated? You've destroyed his chances of becoming president. You've destroyed him in the American public. You give the news media chum to talk about forever. You merchandise that to the press, and you end up effectively destroying the person. And this has worked for Republican after Republican after Republican after Republican. This has been Jack Smith's job. His only job as a dirty bomb for the Democrat Party is to grab innocent Republicans and drag them through this process. Kavanaugh is a good example of this. Were it not for the iron spine, brass balls, and the superhuman capacity of Donald Trump to absorb staring down the barrel of 480 years in prison, were it not for something that I think is a gift from God, frankly, given to Donald Trump, that normal mortal humans just don't have. I'm not saying he's not a mortal human, but I'm saying God gives gifts specifically to specific people. And this guy had his capacity to absorb these attacks and to then spin them around, absorb that energy, and Aryokin, like push that energy back. It is supernatural. It is a gift from God. That and a true cavalry of miracles, a cacophony of miracles, like President Trump turning his head at just the right moment. Millimeters, milliseconds. And who knows how many other assassination attempts? We've lost count. I think there's 4 that we know of publicly. Who knows how many other times his life was saved? But it has to be many. That combined together has led us to the apex of this moment, where there is total and complete atomization of the lawfare against Donald Trump. And I'm going to take a second on this, because we were the people to cover it from the get, as it always was, which is bullshit charges on nothing. It's an op. Yes, they would have loved to have put Donald Trump in prison. Could they have gotten some people? Could they have gotten a conviction in rigged trials like in New York? They did. They could have gotten 4 years in New York, maximum sentence in New York, and trust me, they were planning on doing that. They could have 4 years in New York. They could have added to that with other charges. They had 6 other operations going around the country. They could have put Donald Trump in prison for the rest of his life. That's a body bag. They could have buried Trump in prison. Trump may have never seen his grandkids again, may have never breathed free air ever again. That was the goal. That was the goal. Could they have accomplished it? Who knows? We'll never know, because it's all gone now, but that was the intention. But at the very least, they did accomplish something, which was the wrap-up smear. They accomplished the capacity, and here in this moment of extreme senility, Nancy Pelosi, in a fit of pique, explains exactly how Democrats operate. Praise the Lord that the American public, because of X and because of shows, humbly, that exist in this ecosystem that are totally independent. I'm thinking of a couple shows that were really mean to Trump when these charges were rolling through. I want to take just a little bit of a pat on the back and a victory for you and for me, because you never bought it, and I never bought it. Alex, how many shows? How many times we have Kash Patel, Mike Davis, Julie Kelly on this program? How many times have we had to do like 5, 6, 7 straight hours with Alina Habba, Donald Trump, getting indicted again and again and again, calling it out for what it was from the start? Many other shows, not that kind of guy, but I'm not going to name them. Many other shows sneered at Trump, said it was done. Shows on the right said, oh, tut. Oh boy, the walls are closing in. People on the right saying this. Our side got tricked by what I'm about to show you. This was the operation all along. Would they have been able to put Donald Trump away forever in prison? Would have been complicated. But they were able to accomplish this. This was the intention. Thank God it didn't work. Here's what they were successful in doing, the wrap-up. Smear, go.
Down hospitals and the rest of it. So they don't want them to see that contrast, so they focus on something else. And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But I think I'm worth the trouble.
Nancy Pelosi, in a moment of either extreme drunkenness or sobriety, I can't quite tell. You can hear the jangling of the alcohol cart next to her. See the shaking of the martini hand, right? But I'm glad that she said this. I'm glad that she just came out with it and just said their tactics, how they operate. We create the fake story, the fake smear, the fake indictment. It's illegal for Trump to say march peacefully and patriotically. It's illegal to redress your government, your grievances. Oh, really? What's this? The First freaking Amendment. Oh, no, that's illegal now. They know it was fake. They merchandise it. They smear Trump. That was their tactic. Give him a mugshot, right? It backfired. It backfired gloriously, ladies and gentlemen. And yesterday, here are the actual, let's show you for all to see. Jack Smith filed a motion to drop the charges, and Judge Tanya Chutkan dropped all the charges. Boom. I want the actual documents, please. There you go. We've been talking about this for a long time. They dropped all of the charges, but there is a little poison pill in all of this. It's an interesting little poison pill here that we've been advised. Some of our favorite legal scholars have advised us on that is a bit dangerous in what they did here. They're going to keep these charges alive. So as much as we want to say that they're gone and no legal threat to Trump right now is true, at the very end here, very end of the charges, on the government's motion, at the last line, next page, you're going to see that they say that they are dropping all of this without prejudice for the superseding indictment. Now that little line there of nomenclature, without prejudice, means that they weren't in the wrong. That because of all these other problems of charging a sitting president, and the DOJ can't ever do that, and they don't have a history of that, and so they have to drop it because Donald Trump's going to be the sitting president before this could ever get to trial. That's what Jack Smith explains in this wordy-ass thing. Without prejudice, with prejudice means these were garbage charges in the first place. We should have never brought them. Without prejudice effectively leaves the door open for them to use these charges once again against Donald Trump. It's very interesting. I'm not a lawyer. We got lawyers, and our lawyers got on the phone with me and talked me through. We have vicious trial attorneys that represent this show, and explained that the wording here cracks the door open to say we still believe all these charges against Donald Trump should be brought against Donald Trump, and because of all these other circumstances, we can't bring him. But Trump's guilty, and we still believe he's guilty of all of this. This is the problem. This is what must be ripped out of our government, root and stem. These individuals are not the least bit sorry about what they've done. They are, in fact, irritated that they couldn't do it fast enough. Alex, I need Adam Smith, I need Adam Schiff, Mike Davis posts, please, on X, describing what happens next. Adam Schiff was enraged that he couldn't get Trump in prison fast enough. Not that this was all fake, garbage, but that we didn't do it quickly enough. Adam Schiff posting, Justice Department and the court system failed to uphold the principle no one is above the law. By neglecting to promptly investigate the events of January 6th, the courts willingly delayed progress in the case, providing immunity. Public deserved better. Julie Kelly, cry more, MFer. The first comment. Shut up and take the L. Let this be an example to you, just one, this, the Jack Smith filing, an example to you of that they're not the least bit bothered by what they did to Trump, our movement, how they've locked up January 6ers, raided the homes of the president and the homes of anyone, terrorized all of us. And they're excited to do it again. All the systems are still in place. All the people are still in place. Most of them will get a promotion. Adam Schiff just got promoted into the Senate from the House. Most of the people, so all the systems and mechanisms and gears, the traps, are still sharp. And they're still set. The springs are wound tightly. All of the mechanisms of raiding Catholic churches, locking up grannies protesting abortion, storming into the homes of peaceful protesters on January 6th, destroying their lives, not a scintilla of remorse. Not only that, all of the systems are still aimed and targeted and weaponized. The bullseyes are still on the mark to take out Trump. The cases are still technically alive and could be brought the moment Trump steps out of office. So this will hang over his head unless we do one thing. Unless we do one thing. Mike Davis tweet, please. There must be a vicious hunting. And I don't use that word lightly. I mean, we need to extend precisely, equally, and oppositely, via the laws of physics, equal and opposite reactions, the type of bloodthirsty, psychotic rampage upon which they went after Donald Trump and his family on the individuals who perpetrated this. Mike Davis posting, at the very second that this news broke, Jack Smith and his office must face severe legal, political, and financial consequences for their blatant lawfare and election interference. Election interference. What was the election interference? The wrap-up smear. As we showed you, let's build the blocks here. This includes federal criminal probe for conspiracy against rights under 18 U.S. Section 241. And this would be conspiracy to deprive Donald Trump of his rights, to deprive him of his capacity to run for president in a democratic system, of his freedom, of his inalienable rights to petition his government, redresses, grievances, petition and redress his government of grievances, which is one of our first rights found in the First Amendment of the Constitution. Mike Davis saying subsequently, and we just had this up, that the hunters will become the hunted. Legally, politically, financially, nobody is above the law. I say this with absolute clarity and an understanding that this lawfare and these dirty tricks extend to this show. They extend to you and your family and your children. I am under threat. You are under threat. Our children are under threat. If we allow a cancer to grow in one part of the body, it will affect us all and we'll die. This cancer must be ripped out root and stem. It must be thrown into the garbage. Those who perpetrated these acts need to be frog-marched, indicted, frog-marched, and imprisoned. They need to be found guilty in fair courthouses of conspiring to rig an election against the will of the people, to use the federal court systems and weaponize jurisdictions like D.C., which shouldn't even have a federal court system because it's not a real place. D.C. isn't real. It's not a state. Shouldn't even have a federal court system. It votes so overwhelmingly for one party and one side, they don't even have representation in Congress. To try a trial there is legal malpractice. Federal courts in D.C. should be scraped from the earth. They shouldn't exist. It's not a real place. They bring these charges against Trump there in order to guarantee results, in order to rig an election, in order to deprive Donald Trump of his rights, of his freedoms. And they need to be they need to be locked up. They need to have the full force of a special counsel looking into them and their activities. And they need to be the ones disgraced, run through the mud, having their work scrutinized, every scintilla, every action, every decimal point, every dollar that was spent, $100 million. Let's get the Trump post up there so we can read it. $100 million spent on this. These cases, like other cases I have been forced to go through, are empty and lawless, and they should have never been brought. $100 million of taxpayer money wasted on the Democrat Party's fight against their political opponent, like me. Nothing has ever happened in this country before, and they have used these state prosecutors, district attorneys such as Fannie Willis and her lover Nathan Wade with actually zero experience, but was paid millions. Letitia James, who inappropriately and unethically and probably illegally campaigned on getting Trump, which she did. Alvin Bragg, who never wanted to bring the case against me but was forced to by the Department of Justice, which they did. Merrick Garland forced them to do it. It was a political hijacking, a low point in the history of the country, and such things should have never happened, and yet persevered against all odds and won, Make America Great Again. Yeah, it should never happen, but it'll happen to you and your children. Trust me. Nothing ever stays red or blue forever. Pendulums swing, and unless we cut this cancer out of our system, unless we punish those who brought this upon us, it will continue to happen because all of the machines, all of the mechanisms are still built. We must smash them. You must become Luddites with me and smash the machines. We need to break the systems that brought us to this point. Without that, we are never safe. And so while I am a man of peace, and I don't wish, on this program, I don't, want to, I don't think it's good for the country maybe to throw Joe Biden in jail. I don't know. I mean, someone's going to have to present the case, but there are individuals who over the last 4 years committed crimes against what it means to be an American and how we have a functioning society. And that must end because that's what we're actually fighting for here. We need a functional society to pass on to our children. And this is not it. The machine must be broken. I am going to state it one final time. The full weight of this program will be to push individuals, like we have one of the most powerful attorney generals in the world on the program today. Some of the most powerful legal scholars come on this program. Some lawyers who will be working for Trump will be to push for the investigation and thorough scrutiny and, if merited, prosecution and imprisonment of every individual who broke the law going after Trump, and to serve as a signpost to all who enter here, be wary. If you engage in this, if you try and rip the will of the people away, they tried to take Trump off the ballot. Just in closing here, this little rant. The goal was never to protect democracy. They wanted to take Trump off your ballot. And they succeeded. In multiple states, we have our little Christmas ornament here. In multiple states, you should get yourself a Benny Christmas ornament. In the state of Colorado, in the state of Maine, in the state of Illinois. Hey, Alex, which ones am I missing? I know in these states, they took Trump off the ballot. They succeeded in removing Trump. Removing your ability to vote for Trump. This was the goal. That was the goal. To disqualify Trump from even being on your ballot. Disqualify him legally Assassinate him legally, assassinate him physically, doesn't matter to these people. They're demons. So yeah, it has to end. Because we don't have a functioning country without it. We live in a third world hellscape without it. So yes, it has to end. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to some of our favorite legal experts, let's hop on over. Jonathan Turley, we always love hearing his analysis here. Jonathan Turley, this election is the largest jury verdict in history. We saved Trump from dying in prison. And by we, the victory is the Lord's, right? A confluence of miracles kept this man alive. And now it is time for us to never let it happen again. Let's go.
But in this case, Smith was like a captain who would soon be without a ship or crew, and he had to dismiss this case. It wasn't by choice. In many respects, Smith, up until the very end, was fulfilling the stereotype of his critics. He pushed to release information before the election that he did not have to put on the public record. Even the court said it was procedurally irregular, but she still went with it and released the information. It was viewed as nothing short of election interference. He was trying to influence the election. What Smith knew is that this election would have the effect of the largest jury verdict in history. That if the president was elected, he was out of a job. And that turned out to be true.
The largest jury verdict in history. It didn't work this time. And now it's for us to smash the system, to atomize it. It didn't work this time. It could have, and by every measure, it should have, based on how rigged these systems were. A confluence of miracles. The Fani Willis case should have actually been the first one to trial. Fani Willis case could have been brought and Trump could have been charged and imprisoned in Georgia. It's real. I mean, that is as real as a heart attack. They were days away from sentencing Trump to Rikers Island in New York. As the judge snickered on the stand, according to Alina Habba on this program. Alina Habba joining right after the verdict. Alina Habba saying the judge was laughing under his breath as they were sentencing Trump. These monsters need to go to jail. And everyone in the legal profession and the political landscape needs to watch as Jack Smith's head gets shoved into a cop car with his hands in chains behind his back and shoved in. Said, you've been found guilty. Conspiracy against rights. We don't do this here. It's the only way. That will be the end, the atomization of this system. Greg Jarrett, another wonderful legal expert, friend of the show, saying Democrats so overplayed their hands that it ended in their destruction. Go.
Well, it ends poorly for Democrats. They overplayed their hand. You know, their 8-year-old lawfare campaign that began with a Russia hoax and ended with these federal cases backfired on them. People resented it. They saw Trump as a victim, not a villain. And, you know, these two federal cases are so typical. They should never have been brought. No fair or neutral prosecutor would have done it. They were purely political, legally anemic. They were based on untested legal theories that were dubious at best and constitutional roadblocks. The Supreme Court blew a big hole in the J6 case on immunity grounds, but they also said obstruction charges you are misusing them. In the end, there was really nothing left of Smith's cases, especially since the Florida judge tossed the documents prosecution because the special counsel himself was unconstitutionally appointed. So Jack Smith now goes down in history, I think, as the poster child for failed, biased prosecutors who abuse their power. And it's a huge defeat for corrupt lawfare and a big win for Americans in our system of justice, Sean.
Oh, a wonderful analysis there. Let's go ahead on over to the Trump family. Laura Trump, soon to be senator from Florida, we hope. Come on, his fingers crossed. Laura Trump, on all of this, she's been on this program many times, defending, obviously, her family against this. Of course, her husband, Eric Trump, has been unfairly terrorized by this. They were trying to put Eric Trump in prison. He's a young father. He's got young kids. I don't know their exact age, but they're under the age of 6, right? Like, he's got little kids. They were saying that Eric Trump is culpable for the Donald Trump business dealings in New York, and the city of New York was coming after the Trumps. Oh, man. So, when you talk about what can affect someone the very most in life at their core, raw being, it is taking them from their children. Removing them from their children's lives, like affecting their children forever. That is something that is eternal, that binds you, right, to the heavens and the stars. Because you know that children are a gift from God. And when you come after these parents, that hurts. And they did this for Laura and Eric, of course, friends of the show. Here's the response.
Just humble suggestions. I'm a mere talk show host. What do I know?
Yeah, those were very popular. The largest tax cuts in American history, of course, under Donald Trump with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And yeah, I think that's probably going to be day one, Sean, to get this country not just energy independent, but energy dominant again. I think what we saw happen today with this Jack Smith case is really remarkable. You know, I remember the day that the raid on Mar-a-Lago happened, I came on Fox News that night and I said, you know, I think this is a demarcation line in the history of America. And I actually believe that that was right, because not just the fact that we'd never seen these kind of communist Soviet style tactics so brazenly used against a political opponent to intimidate and to sway the outcome of an election, not just because, you know, that was really the start of a stain on the history of America the past several years, with Jack Smith, with Fannie Willis, with Letitia James, with Alvin Bragg. But because I think, Sean, that was the moment that the American people really woke up and took notice as to what was going on in this country. And they did what we have done in the United States for 248 years. On November 5th, we chose liberty over tyranny. We fought back. We took our country back. And what you're seeing happen right now with Donald Trump's cabinet picks and his appointments are exactly the mandate the American people delivered on November 5th. That's why the approval of everything is so high. That's why you see the economy starting to roar back. That is why people are desperate for January 20th to come around, because we know if it's already starting to feel good now, Sean, just wait until Donald Trump is actually physically back in that White House.
We actually have a post up this morning that's going thermonuclear viral on everything Trump's accomplished without even being, it's still November, right? Like, hasn't even been 3 weeks. Everything that Trump's accomplished since being president-elect less than a month. The destruction of Democrat lawfare is a small agenda item on here. It needs to be destroyed further. They're not remorseful about what they've done. I think because of their reptilian nature, which Adam Smith's economic hero, Adam Schiff, clearly a man who would spontaneously combust if he told the truth. Somebody who you'd probably burn him if you held a cross up to him. If you hit him with holy water, his skin would start to melt. His exoskeleton. Have to crawl back into the little lizard chamber, right? Get a new one, just like Darth Vader. This guy's a sick person. Shows Democrat Party politics exactly what it's about. This man has lied to the American people with total impunity, and he gets rewarded for it. Adam Schiff is the perfect example of what I'm talking about here. He has lied and hoaxed the American people through 8 straight years. And what does he get? Dismissal? No, a promotion. He's now in the Senate. Here's Adam Schiff bitching on TV about how they should have put Trump in prison faster. Okay? Do you understand why we need to destroy this? Why we need this moment? We must have Kash Patel at FBI, Pam Bondi at Justice. We must seize with both hands and strangle this rot. It has to go because they're not sorry. And they're waiting for next time. As soon as Trump's out of office, it happens again. Watch.
Now, Jack Smith relied on the opinion of lawyers within the department
who said that they thought it was required by the Constitution to dismiss the case, but it isn't required by the Constitution. There's nothing that would interfere with his performance of the office, whether the case is dismissed without prejudice or merely postponed. So I think this is a serious mistake by the department. It compounds the mistake that you alluded to, which is they waited a year before they even brought this case forward or began the investigation. And then you have the Supreme Court with its immunity decision, and now you have a potential nominee in Pam Bondi who is saying she's going to prosecute the prosecutors. All of that goes against what Jack Smith said in his brief motion, which is that no one's above the law. So we're hearing that phrase a lot, but we're not giving validity to it by these actions.
He keeps getting booked. He keeps getting brought on TV. The reason why is because they wish to reward those who tell lies on behalf of the system, the machine, and the permanent state in Washington. Adam Schiff is one of the most profound lie tellers in the entire operation. So they promote him. There's an ecosystem built on lies, but those systems fail in the end. And I believe you are actually seeing the large-scale failure of these corrupt systems right now. You're obviously watching them running scared. They are not running with any type of confidence. These are the actions of guilty people. This dropping of these cases proves once and for all eternally that they were political in nature and were only brought in order to sabotage and wrap-up smear Donald Trump. And that's not what we do in this country, and there needs to be retribution. The reason why we have been going so hard in the paint on this over the last couple of years, sometimes there's like entire months that we would spend on Fani Willis, right? ALX, like months, every single show on Fani Willis. Every single show on Alvin Bragg. Broadcasting live Donald Trump's court hearings. The reason why, 7 straight hours we did. The reason why is because of this, the threat that this holds, and that if we get power again, we must eliminate the capacity for this to happen to anyone else. So we brought on some of the world's experts on this issue to talk through it. Kash Patel, prayerfully the future FBI director, on our program explaining what needs to happen to Jack Smith. He says put him in jail. Let's go.
Jack Smith has just been exposed by Judge Cannon of doing what? Lying to a federal court. These guys keep doing it. The judge just unsealed documents in the Jack Smith case down in Florida, which says the prosecutors themselves have admitted to tampering with evidence, to moving the very boxes from one location outside of D.C. to South Florida before they ever even charged Donald Trump. How in the world can you not be prosecuting and charging these constitutional gangsters that are at DOJ? And they learn it from the same place, the top down, the same AGs, the same DAGs, the same FBI directors who are cheering them on. I hope Judge Cannon, he's an actual fun legal thing that should actually be occurring. Judge Cannon should be implementing actual contempt proceedings against Jack Smith and the Department of Justice for lying to a federal judge and withholding evidence of exclusion and innocence from Donald Trump. Those contempt proceedings would be righteous, and I'd like to see those. Maybe we could put Jack Smith in prison.
He should put Jack Smith in prison. I was telling Klein, wow, the quality of the shot has certainly improved in a year. That clip's about a year old. Is that right, ALX? Around there. Man, so we just take a moment to say we're thankful here in this Thanksgiving season for you and for giving us the capacity to increase the quality of the program and the quality of our studio and the quality of our broadcast and our experience in telling the truth here. And we've had that experience because we've brought on the people who've defended Donald Trump in the court of law. And there's very few people that actually go into the courthouse with Trump. Kash didn't. It wasn't his role, but Alina Habba, it was her role. And Alina Habba has this to say about Jack Smith: we're not done with you yet. We're not done. Get ready. I think that probably there are many scared, there are thousands of scared people at the DOJ. According to many reports, they're literally shaking in fear, living in a salt mine of tears. Yeah. But this got to be the scariest for Jack Smith. Now, you've been at war with Jack Smith for quite a while. You've stared down Jack Smith. Jack Smith is now scurrying like a rat. He's not going to give Trump an opportunity to fire him, as you've predicted on this program. He's going to resign. Your message to Jack Smith?
Bye. Bye. We're not done with him, because I'll tell you what now. What he did, $50 million of taxpayer dollars. When I say we, I mean the American people. You can't resign and hide from what you did. You cannot. And, for these people that are real tough guys, you're running real quick. And that tells me that we were right. We were right. Every time someone said, I was wrong, she's so stupid, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and I'm screaming on the courtroom stairs, I don't look so wrong right now. Because if you have nothing to hide, where are you going?
If nothing to hide, why are you fleeing America? If you're on the Diddy list and you're a celebrity and you're one of Epstein's best friends and Donald Trump gets elected and you flee forever and you tell the press that you're never coming back to America, why? Seems like you're guilty. It's not what an innocent person does, right? There's something else going on here. Jack Smith is resigning and closing up shop. We thought that he'd push. They said that they would push these prosecutions all the way through to the inauguration date. What the hell happened? Did your balls fall off? Right? In words of the Joker. What's going on here? They're guilty. They're guilty of crimes. There's a report actually in Politico of Jack Smith's team saying that they really think, they hope that their work on the special counsel stands up against legal scrutiny. What a strange thing to say. Why would you hope for that? That opens the door to the chance that it doesn't? That kind of opens the door to the assumption that what you were doing was illegal? Incredible. Look at this. Look at this article. Here's Killer Klein. Trump's biggest courtroom nemesis is looking for an exit strategy. In this article, it talks about resignations in mass at Maine Justice. People associated with the Jack Smith prosecutions, how they're fleeing, how they are now looking for lawyers, defense lawyers. What a strange thing to do. It's not something an innocent person does. Right? It's not something that you do if a cop comes to your house and says, show me where the bodies are buried in your backyard. And you're like, pfft. An innocent person goes, here's a shovel, pal. Make sure you put the sod back. Enjoy your dig. Maybe you'll find from some ancient Indian burial grounds. Get me an arrowhead. And you keep mowing your lawn, right? That's what I'd do. But a person who's a serial killer and has a bunch of bodies buried very shallowly in their backyard doesn't exactly behave like acts very differently, don't they? Maybe they'd immediately get a lawyer. Maybe they'd flee. Maybe they'd run. And you're seeing that behavior. It's incredible. It's incredible how the synthesis of this. It's pretty easy when you actually look at it through the lens of human nature. Jim Jordan on this program, just a day or two ago, saying Jack Smith needs to preserve his documents. Yeah, well, what would be your advice to Jack Smith and Fani Willis? Are they going to get more subpoenas to come in and testify about what exactly happened behind the scene? Could they be expecting to hear from you? Are you going to need to send this federal marshals to hunt them down like you did Nathan Wade?
Preserve the documents, Mr. Smith. Give us the information that, preserve that information so when the new administration comes in, we can get that information, take a good look at it. And then, with Fani Willis, that case is just falling apart. And they keep moving back. The Alvin Bragg case was ridiculous as well, and they keep moving back the sentencing date. I think it now is slated for the 26th. So we'll see what they decide there in that case also.
They're behaving like guilty people. So that's the tell, right? The liberal freak out on this is absolutely delicious. It fills our cup. How long is this clip? Is this our salt that lib of the day? Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We salt the libs. Let's salt these salty libs on this clip. Lib freak out in the corporate press explains to you two things. One, they know they failed. This was an operation. They had a part in this operation to merchandise this and to let everyone know that Donald Trump's a convicted felon. Well, guess what? He's not a convicted felon. Something I also got off the phone with my lawyers talking through this about. My lawyer saying the without prejudice stuff, you need to zero in on that. And then convicted felon means a judge has sentenced Trump. Trump's not a convicted felon. Trump's not even a felon. Trump's not a felon. You become a felon once a judge has reviewed and then given you a punishment, what the jury finds. A jury can say whatever they want. In some cases, a jury finds a defendant guilty and a judge tosses it. And what that means is you're not a felon. You're not a felon until a judge has sent you off to prison. So Trump ain't a felon, so you took that away from him. The salt is flowing, baby. Okay, here we go. Salt that liberal supercut reacting to this. They know that they failed, and now the pain comes for them.
Well, look, I certainly understand why he did it, given the Department of Justice policy that you cannot prosecute a sitting president. I think it is a shame for justice in this country.
Of course, now there's no accountability, either using the constitutional method of impeachment or the courts.
One of the things is we saw all these cases and they never broke through because the media is different.
They're also very worried about what will happen to the rule of law now that these signals are being sent to Trump's base.
You have one man who has managed to really escape justice in all of the various ways that feels very unsatisfying in terms of the rule of law in this country, and it makes us more akin to regimes that we heretofore have denigrated.
Keep the salt in the cup. Salt in the cup. Salt in the cup. Put it in the cup. I want to drink it. Thank you, everyone. In the chat, the salt flowing today. Oh, they're such weasels. They're such rats. They're such lizard people. The manipulation of language. He's escaped justice. Oh, Andrew Weissman, he makes your skin crawl. This is why you must, when you're disciplining a child, you have to break the child of the assumption that they're right all the time and that their vision is just in the world. You have to present reality. Sometimes it takes a little bit of pain to present reality, to snap back. Okay, it happens to all of us. We must have frog marches into prison. And I think that reality will hit. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that'll hit. There's a great reality that's happening right now across our southern border and our northern border. Very quickly here, I just want to touch on. Mexico and Canada and China have all been threatened with tariffs. Donald Trump last night, Donald Trump saying, listen, Mexico and Canada and China are all part of a operation to poison and kill Americans. China creates synthetic drugs for cheap, for pennies, fentanyl. Then that gets shipped straight through Mexico. Corrupt Mexican officials take payoffs from the cartels and allow caravans and cartel operations to totally take over our northern border, and that poisons our country and fills our country with criminal aliens, gang members, ISIS, some of the worst people in the world, Tren de Aragua, and so on. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to cripple your economies in your countries. America has the best economy in the world, and it is about to get rip-roaring with 4 years under Trump. Anybody who's not part of that, anybody who's not tethered to the American economy over the next 4 years is going to see their country descend into madness. Bread lines, food lines, revolts. Being a part of the American experiment, and a part of that, especially if you're a very close trading partner with America and it's part of our same continent and share a border with us, that will accelerate and cause incredible wealth creation. Unless Donald Trump puts a 25% tax on everything you make. It's genius. Trump says 10% tariff on China, 25% on Canada, 25% on Mexico. That's what's going to happen until you stop it. Now, Canada and Mexico could easily stop criminal alien immigration into America. Overnight. Mexico could deploy their military. They could actually stop migrant caravans. You know, Mexico is really narrow down on the southern tip. That's where the migrant caravans pour through. They could just literally turn them away. Mexico could just enforce its immigration laws and say you're not allowed to be here illegally. Mexico does this because they're getting paid off. You flip the economics around, it becomes very simple game. Mexico and Canada cannot afford, their economies are already in collapse and crisis. They cannot afford the 25% tariff. And by the way, what that will mean is this is already happening, but massive repatriation of American industries back into our country where they belong, out of these countries. And that it will further descend into madness. These leaders will be out on their asses if that happens. So what happened immediately after that? Oh boy. Don't pick a fight with the heavyweight brawler. Action, reaction. You throw a drink in the face of the guy who just won the UFC heavyweight championship at a bar, expect to get your ass kicked. And that man is Donald Trump right now. And these people are shooting, the president of Mexico and the prime minister of Canada are literally spitting in his face. Trump kicked their ass last night. Get a load of this. This is amazing. Within hours of this post, 90 minutes to be exact, Justin Trudeau called Trump groveling, saying he's ending all illegal immigration into Canada and he's going to put more forces, Canadian forces, including but not limited to military forces on the border, the northern border, to prevent illegal immigration from the north. This is happening, by the way. It's actually the highest increase of illegal immigration. And then secondarily, the president of Mexico, who is a little goblin, a little World Economic Forum goblin, she straight up said, I am ending all migrant caravans. There will be no more migrant caravans. We will break them up and send them home. We are going to end all illegal immigration. We are going to work with America to stop. Please, for the love of God, do not put a 25% tariff on us. We promise. We'll end illegal immigration. Oh. Mexico's going to pay for the wall, right? By the time this is all over with, Mexico will pay for the wall. It's a wonderful practice in being a leader. It's a wonderful practice in being in peace through strength and getting what you need through the tools that are in the control of the presidency. And if you look at Article 2 of the Constitution, the president's powers of the executive, tariffs are one of them. So imposing tariffs is something that Donald Trump can do, and there's absolutely no one who can challenge him. And so this is how you stop it. And within hours, here's President Trump halting illegal immigration in the country. Now, okay, here's the post that we put up on X. I don't know if you still have that, Klein, of the accomplishments of Donald Trump in the mere weeks after taking office. Mexico agrees to end migrant caravans. Canada closes border and ends illegal immigration. America's stock market, Bitcoin hit records highs. China's stock market crashes. Xi Jinping begs for peace with America. Companies move production back into the United States. Putin agrees to Trump peace deal in Ukraine. Putin backs back to selling oil in U.S. dollars. Putin no longer targets the dollar. Zelensky agrees to a peace talk. The EU shifts to buying United States natural gas and petroleum. Hamas agrees to end their war right now with Israel. Ceasefire in Israel and Lebanon. Illegal aliens are self-deporting across the country en masse. Corrupt government bureaucrats are retiring en masse. Government censorship regime is completely collapsing and on its last breath. Democrat lawfare totally atomized, as we've talked about on this program. And Donald Trump is at 65% approval rating, which I think will actually increase when he gets into office. We're heading into the American golden age, ladies and gentlemen. Never get tired of winning. It is a glorious moment right now in our country, and it continues to be a country led by laws and men. Tom Homan is one of those men talking about this issue, something that we covered yesterday with a great member of Congress from Texas, named Wesley Hunt, about these petulant mayors and Democrat officials that say that they will just simply insurrect against the federal government. I refuse to enforce immigration law. I refuse to allow federal agents. In fact, I will use my armed agents. So insurrection's definitionally is an armed uprising against the federal government and the authorities of the federal government. So the mayor of Denver saying he's going to use his armed police force to fight federal agents to protect criminal aliens and violent gangs in Colorado is an insurrection by definition. Tom Homan, the new border czar, saying, I am willing to jail the mayor of Denver, the governor of Illinois. You want to go to prison? I'm happy to put you there. They are breaking the law. Man, this is how you win, baby. Let's go. Have a listen.
Tom, you heard this mayor out there in Colorado. I want to get your reaction to it, and I want you to be clear about who has jurisdiction: the federal government or state and local governments. And if you're a sanctuary state or city, are you breaking the law?
You're absolutely breaking the law. All you have to do is look at Arizona versus U.S. You'll see these breaking the law. But look, me and the Denver mayor, we agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail. Because there's a statute. It's Title 8 United States Code 1324 III. And what it says is, it's a felony if you knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. It's also a felony to impede a federal law enforcement officer. So if we don't want to help, that's fine. He can get the hell out of the way. But we're going to go do the job. President Trump has a mandate for American people. We got to secure this country. We got to save American lives. And I find it shocking that any mayor of a city would say, President Trump's been clear. We want to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. I find it hard to believe that any mayor or governor would say they don't want public safety threats removed from their neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know what the hell is going on in Denver, but we're going to go and we're going to fix it. If you don't want to fix it, if we don't want to protect his communities, President Trump and ICE will.
He wants to go to jail. I'm happy to put him in jail, says the new border czar, Tom Homan. Ooh, baby. Them's fighting words, right? As they would say in Texas. And the top law official in the state of Texas, a wonderful friend of the show, a true patriot, a man of law and order who has overseen absolute and total lawlessness of the Biden regime and fought back tooth and nail. And we are so thankful for him, along with everything from razor wire to the buoy system and the Rio Grande. It's just a true man of legal authority and bravery. The great Attorney General of the state of Texas, Ken Paxton, joins us live now. Mr. Attorney General, I just want to start by saying congratulations. Like, this was a very lonely fight for you over the last couple of years, and some tough battles. We've detailed them on this program, and way to stick it through, man.
You know what? I'm grateful that I'm here on Thanksgiving, still fighting the fight. And I have a lot of people to thank, including the people in my state who supported me. A lot of times I was fighting politicians and people in Washington, but the people in my state have always stuck with me. And as I think about Thanksgiving, that's one thing I'm really thankful for.
Yes. We're thankful for your stance, law and order in the state, and for your stance on free and fair elections. We saw the map of Texas. The map of Texas is glowing bright red over the last couple of election cycles, a trend that, of course, would make Barack Obama blush because he promised us that Texas would flip purple, but it's been the exact opposite. Maybe a message to Barack Obama and Eric Holder, who's done so much to try and flip your state purple.
Look, as long as we protect our elections, and we have fought to do that, make sure they're fair, they're free, they're honest, that there's integrity, Texas is going to be a red state for a long time. The fight is we're constantly in a battle to preserve that. And if we weren't in that battle, we spent many, many man hours and women hours trying to protect our state this time 4 years ago. And that's one of the reasons you didn't see us go like Georgia or Pennsylvania. We were in that fight trying to protect it and preserve. And we were threatening people with lawsuits if they violated state law. We were actually enforcing the laws we had. And we have some battles. We have our Court of Criminal Appeals who struck down laws that allowed me to prosecute voter fraud. We're going to get that back, and we're going to continue that fight. Because ultimately, if we cannot have elections that we trust, we can't preserve our freedoms.
So I want to put up this graphic right here, Klein, please. Punch in. Thank you. So look at this Rio Grande Valley. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this map, but this is absolutely astonishing from 2016 to 2024. The work that you've done in Texas is remarkable, Mr. Attorney General. I think this has to do with, obviously, new voter laws that prevent illegal voting. I know that you said there's still some challenges there, but also the policies of the Biden administration to allow total law. I mean, how many times have they sued you to allow criminal aliens and cartels to human smuggle across your border into the state of Texas.
We've sued them 101 times. Many of those, I think 25 of those were immigration lawsuits, and they've sued us several times trying to stop us from protecting our border, whether it's building a wall or putting up a wire to prevent illegals from crossing the border. They were doing everything possible to help the cartels, work with the cartels to get as many people here as possible, hoping that that map would turn. And it's obviously turned the other way because people that live here, whatever their background, Hispanic, black, white, it doesn't matter. These policies hurt them and they know it. And they know that the Trump administration did more to protect them and the opposite of what the Biden administration was doing.
Yeah, so we have Tom Homan there with a clip right before you came on with your governor, Greg Abbott, who I think has also done an excellent job, saying, listen, if these mayors and these state officials, and I know there are some in Texas as well, I think Austin's a sanctuary city, I may be wrong on that, but they're going to defy the federal government and federal law enforcement, and some of these mayors and governors, Democrats, all of them, are threatening to use force against the federal government, to use their own armed police to protect criminal aliens and gang members that are terrorizing Americans. This is by definition an insurrection against the federal government and federal authorities to enforce our immigration laws. Do you define it as such?
Yeah, first of all, in Texas, we outlawed sanctuary cities. As far as I know, we don't have any sanctuary cities because we've threatened to sue every one of them. On the federal side, there's no doubt that the federal government, we've had these battles. We know they have the ability to enforce the laws that are in place. And if a Denver mayor or somebody in Illinois defies that law, there are consequences of that. And they may end up in, as Tom Holland said, and I saw the clip, they very well may end up in prison and should end up in prison if they are aiding and abetting illegal activity, which includes a lot of law breaking, a lot of crimes. And it's amazing to me that you've got American leaders that still want to encourage things that are bad for their citizens. And clearly, if you look at the results, there's not much good coming out of illegal immigration. There's a lot of good coming out of legal immigration.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think you're going to see that in a flip. And the next presidential election cycle, you're going to have a new electoral map that sees Texas gain a ton of seats, and California, Illinois, New York, the sanctuary states, lose seats. I think the people have already voted. People have voted with their feet. Am I wrong?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, our state is the growth in our state. I've been to Florida. I've been to Tennessee. Republican states are generally bringing lots of new people in. So you're right. The numbers are in our favor. They're going to continue to grow. It's amazing that places like California, New York, and Illinois continue to lose people, and they don't get that the policies, the higher taxes, the regulation, the illegal immigration that they encourage, that has a negative impact on their people. They know it, and yet they say, we don't care. We're still going to impose this. And what they haven't fully come to grasp with, we're not like Russia where you can't leave or China where you can't leave. People can cross state borders and they can go where they want to go. And that's exactly what's happening. And our ideas are working, their ideas are failing.
Yes. It's pretty amazing to see how quickly President Trump is able to get consolations out of Canada and Mexico. Just this morning, the Mexican president saying, we promised to stop all migrant caravans. We're going to work with you to stop fentanyl. We haven't heard any of that over the last 4 years. No. Donald Trump threatening a tariff. I'm sure you're totally in support of this, but a pretty remarkable turnabout in just a matter of hours.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. And then the Biden administration literally wasn't trying. They didn't want illegal immigration stopped. They had a plan to use these people for their own means, which I think was to vote. And it's not hard to stop. You can see all President Trump did last time was enforce federal law. He just enforced the laws we had. And you heard Biden complain, and Kamala Harris, that they just needed new laws. And if they had new laws, now it would be better. But we already know that was a lie. And you're right. Just imposing penalties on importation of all of their products was very motivating to them, and as you can see, it didn't take a lot of effort on our part to stop the illegal immigration. That's all it would have taken from Biden, and he did not want to do that.
I know that the state of Texas has offered land for deportation facilities, and that the state of Texas is going to obviously coordinate very strongly with the new administration. I'm not sure you could say the same about maybe New Mexico or Arizona, but I know the state of Texas will lead the way. What does that look like? From a legal basis in your state and from an operational basis, mass deportations?
Well, look, the federal government has the ability to do this. As a matter of fact, they're required to do it. And so there's nothing wrong with us giving them resources, whether that's land or other buildings or whatever they need, if it is a benefit to our citizens, because of illegal immigration is costing us in all kinds of ways, whether it's law enforcement, crime, healthcare, loss of our kids who are dying from fentanyl overdoses, the whole thing. We benefit by helping the federal government deport people who are here illegally. And so, I applaud the governor for providing those resources. And if somehow we get sued or we have challenges, we'll defend those.
Yes. So there was Fox News footage of mass spikes in criminal alien immigration this morning, some shots from the state of Texas. What's your message to a criminal alien that wishes to enter this country illegally, trying to maybe sneak in before President Trump takes office?
Look, it's amazing that the Biden administration encouraged criminals to come to this country. We had literally had a lawsuit trying to stop them from at least being on our side as it relates to not allowing illegals who are criminals. They fought us. They wanted criminals here. So, the message is pretty clear. I think they're going to be the first target. Those illegals who are criminals are going to be the first targets of the administration, and they will be the first ones out. So they may come here. Some of them may be able to hide for a while, but they're never going to have a settled life in this country as long as President Trump's in office and looking for them. So I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's a bad idea. It's a lot of effort, and ultimately you're not going to have the life that you expected if you come here committing crimes.
Yes. So moving on to other people committing crimes, Jack Smith dropped all of his cases. No more federal cases against President Trump. You're seeing other cases atrophy and languish. You've been calling out the lawfare against Donald Trump for quite a while, Mr. Attorney General. Do you think that there should be professional and legal consequences for people who broke the law, who went after Donald Trump in order to rig an election? Mr. Attorney General?
Yeah, I think it froze on me here.
Oh, my apologies. The beauty of a live stream. Let me repeat the question. Can you hear me now, Mr. Attorney General?
It's very muffled. I don't know what happened. Maybe okay. I need to switch off of Wi-Fi and try that.
We have our...
Can you give me a second here?
Yeah, of course. Quality is great on our end, so... we're going to bump off for a moment. Our producers can pop back on when we get the Attorney General back. Obviously, important topic of conversation here, and something that we need to lay the groundwork for, because President Trump does obviously have the legal authority to determine who is in this country and to deport people who are illegally here in this country. It was shocking going through the deportation numbers, and we did this as a practice just the other day. The number of people deported under Barack Obama was over 5 million. And Donald Trump is talking about deporting potentially 10 million people. But you're going to have a really hard time arguing that deportations are illegal or are immoral when Barack Obama deported orders of magnitude more. Well, that was in the second term. He deported 3 million in his first term and then 1.8 million in his second term. So a combined total of 5 million criminal aliens were deported under Barack Obama. And so where exactly is your moral or legal argument that deportations are wrong or can't be done by a president? Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The Attorney General back in action. Here we are. Mr. Attorney General, do you got us now?
I do. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It just kind of went away.
All right. No problem. We have a... Why don't I just quickly re-ask the question? Jack Smith dropping his criminal charges. It seems as though this has been utterly exposed as the fraud that it was in lawfare against President Trump. What should be the consequences of people who engaged in the election rigging and the clear politicized lawfare against what is now a president-elect?
To me, this is one of the most severe things that happened. The use of the Department of Justice and the FBI to go after we're talking about totalitarian governments to do that, and that's clearly what happened to me and to a lot of other conservatives. I think they need to root that out. They need to be little and vicious and root that.
We apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We have a bad connection with the Attorney General. Producers, please, if he comes back, and I'd love to get him back, but if he comes back, please, like, guarantee that the connection is solid. I hate being rude on the program, but if we can't hear the Attorney General, and we can't hear, what we're doing is wasting your time, and we're wasting his time. So it'd be better for us to get a solid connection. It is on his end and not on ours. It'd be better to get a solid connection, have him, log out entirely and pop back in. We're going to move on over, ladies and gentlemen, to so just in the future, guys. We hate being anything other than respectful and allowing our guests to continue what they say. When we have a terminal glitch that doesn't allow anyone to hear what they're saying, then it's not being respectful to anyone. So we're going to see if we can fix that. If not, then we thank the Attorney General for joining the program. It is what it is. In case you wonder if our show is live, unlike some other shows, if you're wondering if our show's live, this is just the way it works. This is what happens when you're live. You just got to roll with it. CNN wasn't planning on something happening while they were live. CNN panel enraged that their, without question, their best commentator, Scott Jennings, called X an ideologically balanced platform. He responds by citing CNN's own report. Oh, yeah, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is great. We played this clip, I believe, last week, but here's CNN's original reporting saying that X used to be a far left-wing echo chamber, and now it is perfectly ideologically balanced, the most ideologically balanced of all social networks. Here we go.
How's he really doing?
Yeah, how is he really doing? So if you looked at that opening slide, what did it say? It seems like Elon Musk is losing, but he's actually winning. So one of the big reasons he bought Twitter/X is because he wanted to make it his own platform, remake it in his own image. And I think this really gets at it. Look at this. The party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture. Now it's basically split between Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 47%. And what I should note, Mr. Berman, is this new overall makeup matches the overall electorate far better and more than that.
So X matches the overall electorate. You can see that there is a 1%, 1 point tick of Republicans on X in comparison to Democrats. And that's actually what you got. That's actually what you got in this election cycle, right? In a lot of swing states, in a lot of close races, you had Republican majorities that add up over the entire totality of the election results. But this reflects the actual country. CNN had that information that they reported told to them on air, and they said, that's a fake report. Well, so CNN calling itself fake news. Here we go.
Also, I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform.
Stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes. You cannot continue to say You cannot say that. That's not the case.
What I find, we reported it on this network.
It's not accurate, and you know it.
Okay, I'll let you make your statement. But my point is this.
Can I reframe it a different way? Because the site changed radically, right? So whether you think the voices it is somehow more balanced now, that's fine. But no doubt Musk's influence is profound, and that you open it up and now you're there with his opinion, and he is now part of this administration. So does anyone else think that there should be this greater concern about billionaires purchasing media companies?
Okay. Would you be worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
Because MS.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that clip spiraled at the end. The funny part is that here's a CNN pundit being like, that's fake news on CNN. We never thought we'd see the full singularity. Time is a flat circle. CNN calls itself fake news. A remarkable moment. We've been calling CNN fake news for quite a while now, and it's nice to see everyone come around. So we have, let's go down the list. We have Charlemagne the God saying he's MAGA now. That clip is remarkable. We have Zenk, Jenk, Alex always sends me a pronouncer of his name. I never get it right. Should invite him on the program. Cenk from the Young Turks saying that he wants to work in the Trump administration. I kid you not. Literally posting about it. And now we have CNN calling themselves fake news. This is a great time to be alive. And so much to be thankful for, ladies and gentlemen. So, how about this? If you want something else to be thankful for this Christmas, order yourself a official ornament from the Benny store. It's $5. The red Christmas ornament will bring joy and happiness to you as it has for thousands and tens of thousands of Americans. Ladies and gentlemen, it costs $5. That is at cost. We do not make it in China. No tariffs on these. Don't make it in China. They say you can't make things in America anymore. Well, we did. Everything for this is sourced right here, and we went through a veteran-owned company from right here in Florida. So, ladies and gentlemen, please pop on in there and make sure that you are locked in and ready to go this Christmas to either bring joy to your own Christmas tree or troll your liberal family members or neighbors with the sweet official red Christmas ornament. Only $5 at the Benny store. Ladies and gentlemen, our verse of the day here is from Luke 20th. Luke 20:18. I'm reading chats from our team. Hey guys, we just let's see if the Attorney General can join us tomorrow. We've just had too many technical issues with this. Okay, so we just apologize to the Attorney General, but too many technical issues on this one. See if he can join us tomorrow, and we can work on the connection here. All right. I don't want to waste his time on this with the technical errors. He has big problems to obviously fight in the state of Texas, but less now so that we have changed the leadership of this nation. And this is what our verse of the day is about. Everyone who stumbles over that stone will be broken to pieces, and it will crush anybody it falls on. Christ is the stone. Our Lord and Savior is the bedrock, the cornerstone of our lives. Do not stumble over it. Do not fight it, right? Like recognize that this moment is actually here because of a confluence of miracles that cannot be explained. And now it's up to us, right? We make the horses ready for battle. The victory is the Lord's. So ride off with us. March with us, ladies and gentlemen. Stand upright. On to victory. You can't defeat an army of happy warriors, ladies and gentlemen, and we are winning. It's your boy Benny. This is the Benny Show. See ya.
Activate the statue of deportation.
Man, I can't wait to see people's faces when we come on shore. This should really get the city's positive energy flowing.
The statue of deportation has arrived in New York City.
Young Bobby Engels has a problem. He needs to earn the respect of his peers. So he gets the special MAGA Genesis fighting system. It comes with immigrant combat too. He saves on his taxes. He gets more money, more control. Now things are pretty much okay.
I said chocolate chip. Say it. Say it. MAGA! He needs food. This is fun.
Hey guys, what's wrong with her?
She's been like that for an hour now.
What's for dinner? Okay, I'll take it from here.
The truth gon' be faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade with the warrior's heart. This man never fades. You know it's prime time when Betty invades. From saving the nation to stories untold. The Betty shows the storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salt in all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Betty Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Betty Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to the debates, Betty sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Betty invades. From saving the nation to stories untold. The Betty shows the storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salt in all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Betty Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Betty Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.